back to The Dose of It, the unfiltered podcast where we talk all things weight loss, wellness, GLP-1s, and becoming that girl, one step and injection at a time.
We're your hosts, Priss and Taylor, and while we're on this journey with you, let's be super clear. We are not medical professionals.
Just two besties sharing our real-life experiences, the good, the bad, the messy, and everything in between.
So grab your water, get your steps in, and let's get into The Dose of It.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another chaotic episode of The Dose of It. We are just so grateful for every single person that listens to us every day. We had somebody tell us last week that they missed us so much that they went back and listened to our episodes from day one to current. And you guys are just our day ones. We're so grateful for every single one of you. And we are so excited to get into it today.
Yeah, we're getting into it. And, I didn't have an energy drink today, but it kind of feels like I did a little bit, which is good because if y'all were here last week, then y'all know Chris and I were pretty much snoozing while we were recording. Okay. Like I'm yawning while she's talking, and then people are like messaging us saying they're like it's in the Patreon. Speaking of the Patreon, if you guys didn't know, a perk of the Patreon now is you get early access to the podcast. So early access. So when we released it early in the Discord, people were like messaging us saying, you guys are making me yawn. Like stop, because we were so tired. Like we literally couldn't wake up. But yeah, we were just so grateful for all of you guys who continue coming back and listening to us. So welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. And honestly, you know what? Let's just take a little time. If you are new here, if you're listening to The Dose of It for the very first time, me and Taylor were a little unhinged, so welcome in. We also wanted to remind every single one of you that is listening today, that we actually have a Patreon community that we made for anyone that's on a weight loss GLP-1 journey who just needs a little extra support. We will link it in the video. If not, it's on either one of our pages, but we have a private Discord where people share their wins, their struggles, everything in between. So if you are on this journey and you're like, dude, I need a group of people that are just going to cheer me on and help me, I recommend to look into it. The starting membership fee is $7 a month. And then we do offer one-on-one calls where we can just talk, yap, whatever it might be that you need. And that goes up to $15. So definitely check that out. We will always be providing our episodes for free for you guys, but we wanted to create a safe community, a safe space for you guys. So that's why the fee is there, just because we wanted to make it accessible for people, but not too accessible to where anybody could go into that Discord and just leave hateful comments, be negative. So yes, we hope that you join us, and yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys and see you guys there and yap with you. Priss, before we get into the meat of our episode for today, we have a good one. The rotis of the episode for this week. I would just like to kind of check in with how you're doing considering last week. I know we were kind of in the same boat of feeling off of the routine, and you came back from vacation, you had your bestie over, which I know can mess up our schedules a little bit. We love our besties, but sometimes it can be a little, it's like it messes up our daily schedule, like we're not at work and stuff. So how are you feeling? Are you back on schedule? Like how's it going?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I will definitely get into it. So I feel like last time we checked in, I was a little bit, my headspace was kind of muffled, right? And a lot of people were like, Priss, why did you weigh yourself when you got back from vacation? You shouldn't have done that. But truthfully, I wanted to do it because I think I needed it in the moment. Like gaining weight is normal on a weight loss journey. And I wanted to share that with people. I have a platform and I'm going to be open and honest when it comes to that kind of stuff. Gaining weight's normal. It's totally normal. Don't beat yourself up about it. Did I spiral for a couple minutes? Yeah, I did, but it truly it truly changed my perspective about a lot of things. And so it happened when it was supposed to happen, and I'm grateful for it. I feel so much better than I did a week ago. I'm actually going to be off all next week, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I have a schedule that I'm going to be following, and hopefully it'll kind of get me back into my regular routine. I feel like I'm slowly but surely getting back into it, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I did my right arm this week for my injection. I've never done my right arm, so I'm super excited, but I'm really kind of nervous. Trying new injection sites can be kind of scary. I know that we're always telling you guys to switch it up, but it is a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited. I feel like, I wouldn't have known that I loved the left arm if I didn't try it again. I'm really excited to try it and see what it has for me. But how are you feeling? How are you adjusting to the move and everything?
Yeah, liver. I think I'm doing good. First of all, I am glad to hear that you're feeling a little bit better into your routine. Still, like, I know that you're still like adjusting, but I'm glad to hear that you're doing a little bit better. We also yesterday, Chris and I both did the right arm, so I woke up a little like I was like the suppression. Whoa, the suppression is suppressing, is what I was trying to say. So, I'm feeling good as far as like injection wise as well. Adjusting to the move. So, we thankfully have AC and all that stuff now. Little update from last week, which I'm grateful for. But I'm going to be a little honest here. I think that this move is harder on me than I expected it to be. I thought that it was going to be all like sunshine and rainbows, and I was going to enjoy the new city, and I was just going to have so much to do. But I think that I don't know if it's because I'm overwhelmed or underwhelmed. Like, I don't really know how to like explain that, but I think that I just expected it to go a little bit differently. I haven't really explored downtown yet. And I think that I'm just dealing with like feeling a little bit alone here. I only know one person, and that can be a little scary. And I kind of expected it to go a little bit differently. I think I just had expectations. I'm kind of like an expectations person. And yeah, I think I just expected it to go a little bit differently. I had like this, like, I just feel like I kind of like got super excited in my brain
Yeah.
about like being in a new city and stuff. But I actually have like a little thing planned for myself tomorrow. I'm gonna take myself on like a little boat ride tour around the downtown area because like Pittsburgh is known for like their rivers and their bridges and stuff. So
Oh my
I'm gonna go
gosh.
like sightseeing and stuff and hopefully vlog it if it's like a nice day. It's actually supposed to rain tomorrow because of course I live in Pittsburgh. So hopefully it doesn't rain and I can still go. I hope to vlog it. And I'm just gonna, start like exploring. Like Chris and I have like plans. We're gonna go try a new gym together, and then we're gonna go sit at like a little cafe, and like we're
Yeah.
gonna work on like the podcast and stuff like that together. So I think that'll be really
Yeah.
fun. And I think Chris and I are like finding our groove like together, which is like
Yeah. We kind
oddly
of do
enough
that
like
a lot.
yeah, we do that a lot, but I think it's like we're not even on like we're on the same path in life, like in a way, but like, I feel like also at the same time we're not. Like she didn't just move and stuff, but somehow we're finding our way like to be able to like find a routine and stuff together, which I think is nice, especially next week. So I'm excited. Sorry for blabbing about that, but yeah,
No.
adjusting, adjusting. I think I had a little bit of different expectations, but I'll get happier. It'll work out.
Well, and I think you being so vulnerable about it, Tay, truly means a lot, especially to people that are listening, because that's the beauty of you. You keep it real, you keep it honest, and while moving can be super exciting, it can also be really scary. And you have those expectations, and it's not to say that it's not gonna turn around. I think right now it's just a lot on your plate. You're still getting adjusted to things. You don't have to necessarily like move into a new place and be touring downtown the week after.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their own. Like there's a different schedule for everyone. And I think you're doing a great job. I think you're doing amazing, and you owe yourself some credit. You went through a really difficult and stressful move, and you're still adjusting to things. Moving to a new city where you don't know anyone but one person. A lot of people wouldn't do that just for that, and you chose to step out of your comfort zone and do it. And I think you deserve to just be patient with yourself, because it's going to take a lot of time and gracefulness to just adjust to all of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You made me like a little like emotional because like I know Chris and I like talk a lot in our like private time, but I've just been struggling with it, guys. So, things aren't perfect in life and sometimes, things aren't, sunshine and
And I
rainbows
think
and
it's
I'm
just a learning lesson, Liv, like truly.
yeah.
I think you always wanted to do this, and you're doing it. And that's something, we're only this age, we're only in this part of our lives for this time. Like we are only going to be this version of ourselves in this very moment.
Yeah.
And you chose to live it on edge. You chose to move to a different city and start over. And you should be super proud of yourself, because a couple years down the line, you're going to be like, I did that and I grew from it. I learned from it. And I'm the person that I am now. So,
That's
I love
true.
that you live with no what ifs. You do it, and a lot of people could take a lesson or two from that. I know I can, because a lot of times I'm fearful and I don't want to do it, but you chose to do
Yeah.
it even if it was scary. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of
Well,
you.
thank you. Yeah, I've
Of
growing up,
course.
my parents always like told me like you're stubborn and like hard-headed because I'm one of those people where like you can tell me that like the water is too hot and it's gonna burn me over and over again, but guess what? I need to feel the water and let it burn me myself. Like I need
Absolutely.
to like know that the temperature's hot for myself, and I think that that goes into play with a lot of things in my personal life right
Yeah.
now, but which I know but I just think that I'm a little stubborn in the sense of like, and this was one of those moments where like I've always wanted to live here, and especially like living with a best friend, and yeah, I think that it was I was gonna like keep pondering about it until I did it. So yeah, that's a little bit about our personal lives right now, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into it, I'm feeling a little parched. I think we need a little hydration check.
Yeah, I need
What's
to
in
be
your cup today,
hydrated.
Liv?
Water. What's in yours?
Water with electrolytes. I would love if you guys gave us some electrolyte recommendations. I'm in the market for some new electros. So definitely let us know, what electrolytes are you drinking? What packet? How are you making your water fun? I want to know. We want to know. Let us know.
Have you tried the So Well electrolytes, Priscilla?
Oh my God, do not call me by my government name ever again.
Priscilla. I know.
Does anyone, yeah, honestly, truly does.
It's like, it's not even like that it's your government name. It's just because like your liver,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
like,
I don't
I
like
feel like
that.
it's
It's
like
like
you're
when
my,
you're
like, I'm
It's
mad at
like
you,
when,
it's like,
yeah, it's like when Mr. Puff calls me. Actually, he wouldn't. Like, he knows that if I ever call him by his government name, he's just like, what's going on?
oh,
Why?
he probably sharts himself a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Spit
Yeah.
and all.
I think if I was your girlfriend and you called me by my government name, I think I'd be like, oh, what'd I do?
Who said
Oh,
that?
what?
Who
And
said that?
I'd start running away. I'd be like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Like,
No, yeah. No, I've never tried this So Well. I've heard about it. I need to try it. I just honestly, I love water, but sometimes I love a cute like mocktail moment. I love like juicing it up. I like spicing it up. So yeah, let us know. What is your go-to
yeah.
drink to keep your
What are you
hydration up?
drinking?
What
Yeah.
is you
What you
drinking and
drinking?
sipping on?
Yeah.
But yeah, today we wanted to switch it up a little bit for you guys. If you're listening to this episode right now, wherever you are, we have a lot of people that tell us they listen to us in the gym on the treadmill, and I absolutely love that. But if you're in the car, wherever it is that you are listening to this episode, I want you to just take a little bit of time and reflect, because we're going to start this episode with a question today. I want you guys to take a second and think about, have you ever in, your past 6 months, year from today, wherever it might be, when it was that you first started your journey or when you knew you wanted to start your journey, did you ever think that you weren't lazy, you were exhausted, or you weren't being dramatic, you were just being ignored? You weren't the problem, but did you think that you were? Let's talk about it.
Oof.
Let's talk about it.
This is gonna be a deep episode. This is gonna be a deep
Yeah.
episode. Even just you like asking that like kind of like blanket statement question, I think that as you like hit on a few of those topics, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Let's
felt
talk
all of
about it.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about it, because I think there's a lot of people that have so much shame that they carry, especially before starting a journey like this, right? We blame ourselves, or we blamed ourselves for being lazy. We were too emotional. A lot of us think, or a lot of us told ourselves that we were undisciplined, when in reality, a lot of us were just not supported. We felt misunderstood. We're dealing with things that nobody truly saw. And so I think it's really important to talk about it, really important for us to reflect on it. I think a lot of the times when me and Taylor go into these episodes, we leave and we're like, damn, that was a therapy session for both me and her. So let's get into it. Let's do a then versus now.
Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be one of those like healing episodes. I already know, Pris. I know when you start talking like this, I'm like, this is gonna be one of those therapy sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's so many things in this journey and also like in our lives, right? That when we're plus size, especially specifically like being a plus size like woman or like someone who is born in a female body, I think that there's a lot of things like PCOS and stuff that can really like
Yeah.
all of these like underlying issues like obesity and food addiction and insulin resistance that we don't really know about until we receive a diagnosis. And unfortunately, so many people don't even receive diagnoses. They have to like they're self-diagnosed, which I think is very, very sad. But I think that along with having these medical conditions that you don't understand much about and you're not really like taken seriously, I think that blame comes into play and we just start blaming ourselves for so many
Oh,
things that,
yeah.
aren't necessarily our problems or never necessarily like we were the main issue. So I think
Yeah.
that that's going to be one of these episodes where we really dive
Yeah.
into like, are we the problem? Were we the problem the whole time?
And I think coming from I love my mom with all of my heart. My mom was most of my life a single mom, and she did the damn best she could for us, right? But nobody is born with a handbook on how to be a parent, how to be on a weight loss journey, how to do life. Nobody has that. And if you do, please let me know where it's at. But my mom didn't really know a lot about PCOS. I was the first child. All right. I'm the firstborn. And so growing up with things that I had, I think my mom tried her best, right? But I think I was a little girl and I didn't really know what was wrong with me. I just thought it was me. I thought I was eating too much. I thought it was all on me. I thought I'm fat because I made myself fat. And that was the only right answer. And so I think a lot of us just situational, we grew up in a place where maybe we weren't educated on these things. And it's not because the people around us didn't want to educate us. They just didn't know either. I think PCOS is one of those things where a lot of people still don't really know what it is. And a lot of people might think they do, but in reality, I think we're all still learning. And I think it can
Yeah.
look different for everyone. I don't think there's like a right or wrong way. Just because you have this or you don't have this, it doesn't mean that you don't or it's not valid. So I think that's also really important, especially because we all grew up in different homes and in different places. So I think that's a lot of things for me too. Like I grew up blaming me and my habits and the way that I was for so long because that's all I ever knew. I didn't really know that there was such thing as PCOS. I didn't really know that there was such thing as eating disorders.
Hmm.
I didn't know a lot of these things. And so if you are one of those people that you're still just learning about this, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a learning lesson for everyone.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that oftentimes I will like reflect on my childhood and stuff. And I know like we've both been like vulnerable and open about like our moms and our upbringing. And I love my parents too. And we've said like it's their first time on planet Earth, their first time being parents.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of questions and stuff like whenever I reflect on my childhood, like I used to sneak so much food because, whenever, so I was my stepmom raised me and my father raised me. And my stepmom early on, I think she realized that I had like an issue with food because I was plus size. And so she would just start saying things like, you need to eat less. And I was like pretty much put on a diet at a very, very young age. And like the cabinets being locked and like us not being allowed to come out of our rooms after a specific time and not being able to have like things to eat after a certain time. And I think that it just started making me spiral and it didn't teach me a healthy relationship with food from like the age of 8 and on. And I just have like vivid memories growing up of like sneaking food. Like I would like go into like I would leave my room. It would be like 12 at midnight and I was like hungry or I was thinking about food. I don't remember. I was like 9 years old. But I remember I would like sneak into the kitchen and I would like take out these like frozen chicken tenders from the freezer. And they were like buffalo, like spicy chicken tenders. And I would heat them up in the microwave because I was hungry. Or like I said, I don't know if I was hungry or thinking about food, whatever it may have been. And I would, like, make sure that the microwave didn't beep, like, I'd, like, open the door really quickly. And mind you, I'm, like, 9 years old doing this. I'd, like, open the microwave, like, really, like, quickly, and then, like, I just, like, run to my room, and I this one specific night I did that so many nights, and I remember this one specific night, my stepmom's son had, like, came up the steps. He lived in, like, our basement area. He came up the steps, and he saw me, and I, like, ran to my room, and I left the tenders in the microwave. I was like he's like, "What were you doing?" And I, like, ran, and I, like, left. Well, the next
Dude,
morning,
why
of
can't I
course.
have like this visual in my head of little Taylor
Dude,
running?
imagine me. Imagine my little sneaky ass running. Like I darted to my room. Okay, I said I ran because I she didn't let us like I wasn't allowed to eat past a certain time. So like I ran. Like I knew I wasn't allowed to be in that food. And of course, my stepbrother snitched on me. Of course he did. And I just remember getting in like so much trouble. And like my parents would like this is something else too. Is like I don't know if like your family did this, but like food was like a reward growing up in my house. So like we would get something called snack at night, like dessert, and or like it would just be like a little snack after dinner or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
for punishment, if my little brother and I were bad, we would get the food taken away from us. Like, you guys aren't allowed to have snack tonight. No snack tonight. And, or sometimes depending on what we did, no dinner. Go to your room and like you're not eating dinner, like no dinner tonight. Or if we didn't like what they were eating, it's like then go to like no dinner, like then like screw you and no snack.
Yeah.
Or like if you don't finish what's on your plate, you don't get snack tonight. Like it was just like I think I have a lot of I could sit down for I think for hours and really think about my upbringing and what triggered my like addiction to food and stuff because when you have all of those limitations growing up, I think that it can really, really, really like think about me as like a preteen then like spiraling. I'm going through puberty and like then I'm like hormonal and like I'm bleeding and I want like all the cake and stuff like that. And then I just started binging stuff and sneaking in the middle of the night and started eating stuff like that. Like also one more
Yeah.
thing, y'all, about like my food addictions. I remember in my teens, I don't know what it was, but I used to sneak brown sugar. I would get brown sugar in a cup and I would take Hershey's chocolate syrup and put it in there and then I would like mix it around and I would like eat it. Brown sugar and Hershey's chocolate syrup. I don't fucking know why, but like and that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these things is it's like there's no way that was me. I was like 12 or 13. Like what made me like have such like
Yeah.
crazy food cravings like that? It's
No.
just so weird.
It is really weird. And honestly, like looking back at it, like I truly, truly like I always knew that I coped with food, but I didn't truly know like that I used it as an emotional like void for so long until recently. Like I look back, and I think especially since I started like my journey, I realized like, hey, Pris, like you were really like using food to feel something, right? And I think a lot of people, they struggle differently when it comes with food. Like some people use it to cope, whatever it might be. I know for me personally, I used it to cope for so long, and I just there were days where I would just I would feel so much emotion that I truly just looked for food to help me feel something. And being on this journey, it's just taught me to like really sit down and like process those on my own. And I can't help but think of Pris whenever she was going through those things. And, I would literally sit in my room crying, eating a tub of ice cream,
Yeah.
and I would be so full, but I would still continue to go on because I just needed it. I needed to make sure that that plate was empty. I needed to make sure that that bowl was completely licked clean. And I don't think I felt better until it was. And I think it's something that I grew up with. Like if I didn't finish it, I was not going to be okay. And so I think I would blame myself for not finishing it, and I'd have to continue to keep going. So I think a lot of our childhood kind of stems from that, kind of growing up like that. And I think being a woman, right? And especially being a bigger woman, I think a lot of times when people see us or see people that are bigger, they automatically just want to assume that you're lazy, or just want to assume that you don't care about yourself because you're in that body, right? And it's so easy to start to believe it. It's so easy to start to tell yourself, maybe I am lazy, maybe I deserve to be in this body, and I think I was in that point, or at that point 6, 7 months ago. I think I was. And I kept telling myself that I'm okay where I'm at because I didn't have anywhere else to be. I thought I was stuck there. So I just chose to be okay with it. I started to hate my body, like truly hate my body. I'll talk about like a little scenario that happened. And I don't think Mr. Puff knows that it happened, but I know that if I ever did tell him, I think it would break his heart a little. But you guys are like my people, so I'll talk to you guys about it. Mr. Puff's friend had come down for vacation, and a lot of his friends were going to meet at this like place, right? And it was my first time meeting that group of friends. And I remember this was one of the moments where I think I was like really starting to not like my body. And I just remember trying on so many things, right? Whenever you start to gain weight and you start to avoid certain like pieces of clothing because you used to fit
Yes.
into them, but you can't anymore. And you just can't help but be so mad at yourself because why did I let myself get to this point to where I can't fit into those pants anymore or this shirt anymore? Why did I do that? You start to blame yourself, right? Because it's like, why did I not stop? So I remember I had a whole stack of American Eagle jeans that I loved. This is when American Eagle jeans had like plus size jeans at the time. So I bought all the ones I could find. And so I could no longer fit in them. And so I remember looking at myself in the mirror and literally being so mean to me. And I was like, I cannot leave this house. I can't leave this house because I don't want people to look at Mr. Puff and be like, this is who you're with. Like, why would you choose this person? Right. I was so mean to me. And I just remember sitting there looking at myself in the mirror crying because I was like, I cannot believe I let myself get to this point. And I can't even leave my house right now because I hate myself so much. And it was so easy in that moment to just blame Pris for getting herself in that position. And I just didn't want Mr. Puff to be seen with me because I wasn't happy with me. And I thought everybody could see that, right? I feel like in that point in my life, anywhere I would go, whether it be like the grocery store, the store, anywhere, people would just look at me and be like, she's fat and ugly and blah, 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 and assume all of these things.
Yeah.
So I think I think for me was one of those moments where I couldn't help but blame myself and really be so hard on me. And I always look back at that because I think it's so easy to blame ourselves. And I think it's so easy to assume that because this person's big or because this person looks a certain way, it's so easy to label them. Um, and I think it's not only with just weight, right? Like, I think some people can blame themselves because their relationship might be failing or because they have low energy. A lot of people could just blame themselves, right? But I think it's so important because I think that moment where I was being so hard on myself, I think it's also important to just be so gentle to yourself too. But yeah, that's kind of a story for me where where I was really hard on myself and I really, really blamed myself in that position. Have you ever had a time like that, Tay, where you kind of felt like it was your fault? Like, why did I let myself get like this? Or it's me, like I made myself this person?
Yeah. I think kind of like going into like blaming myself just about like the food noise and the food addiction. I mean, what 8-year-old like is like doing that just because they like want to be, like because they want to be fat, because they want to be indulgent and like do all of those things. And I don't know, I just think that it's something that I've always blamed myself for. I think growing up, just hearing it a lot too from my parents, like, like I had like literal meetings. I would get sit down by like I would get sat down by like my stepmom and my dad, and they would tell me like, you need to stop eating so much, and you need to change the way that like you're living. You need to stop eating out so much, and you're being lazy, and like all of these things. And I remember just like crying because like I was just a teenager. I was like, I don't know what I'm dealing with. Like I don't know why I feel the cravings that I do and why I think about what I do. And I just remember feeling so fucking helpless at one point, like in my teen years. And I think that's where like I just started spiraling. When I was in my teens, I was like a size like, like 14, 16, 18, like in high school. So I was like plus size. But I think like once I left my parents' house and it really went into full effect of like binging and just kind of feeling like, well, this is your fault. And, you are lazy and you were overindulgent and like all of these things. Like I just remember even like making plates like growing up, like, I would have like comments made about like do you really need that much? You're really gonna need like a second plate, and just like the craziest comments, growing up. And I just think that I just wish that someone would have like heard me and saw like the issues that I was dealing with rather than just like labeling me as
Label
lazy and
it.
stuff. Yeah, like labeling me as lazy and just making like assumptions because like I tried so many times. Like I was doing keto when I was like 13. Like, like what like preteen girl should be doing like keto and like diets and the Atkins diet and stuff. Like, like nobody wants to do that while your other friends are like triple or double zeros, like it was hard growing up. And I just think that I blamed myself
Yeah.
so often, and it's hard to get out of that cycle. Sometimes I still have that like the mind game with myself of like, what went wrong with me? Like what's wrong with my brain wiring that like, maybe the person next to me doesn't have a food addiction, but I do, and why did it start so early and where does that stem from? I don't know. I just think that it's a hard cycle of like blaming yourself. But now that I know that I'm on a medication and it's helping and I feel my brain feeling calm and quiet, I think for the first time, I'm kind of going through that healing stage of like, it's not your fault and stop the blame game of like, not everything is your fault. And, you have silence now and it's not supposed to be like how it
Yeah.
was. And I don't know, I guess I just wish that someone was there for younger Taylor and someone was there to see what I was going through rather than just like, bringing me down all the time and stuff. But I would probably say that's where like I just blame myself growing up all the time is like my addiction to foods.
Yeah. No, that hurts my heart, because the Taylor that I know now is like so strong, and I think if the younger Taylor could meet you right now, she would just be so grateful. And I think we all just need a Taylor in our life. So, oh my God, I'm getting emotional too. What the hell?
Yeah, like don't start talking about
Um,
that.
yeah, sorry, but I think we all need a Taylor in our life because you really are just you're just really important to me. Oh my God. Anyways, so I think it's just so crazy, right? How some people could just look at a person and automatically assume that they're this kind of person or that they are this character. When in reality, one of the things I talk about a lot is like people on the internet, right, are so quick to call you fat or so quick to call you out on your weight. Or I could be putting a video of me at the gym and somebody's still going to tell me that I'm fat and lazy when I'm literally
Right.
at the gym.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy, right? Because you don't know their story. You don't know that they dealt with diet culture their whole life. Their whole life, they've just been trying to fit in. Their whole life, they've just been trying to look like the person next to them, right? And I think people being so cruel to one another makes it so easy for people to want to make it their fault. It's my fault that people think that because I put myself in this position. A lot of people talk about how even doctors make them feel like it's their fault. I remember when I was younger, I would hate going to the doctor because even when I had like the flu, when I would fracture something, I'd go in there and the first thing I just automatically just tell myself he's going to blame it on my weight. Like he's going to say something about my weight and I don't want to hear it. I remember I finally found a doctor that truly, truly cared for me and not always talked about my weight. And I just remember appreciating that so much. And isn't that kind of fucked, right? Like, you're supposed to
Yes.
go to the doctor to like feel better. And sometimes you go in there dreading it because you're just like, I cannot take somebody else telling me that I'm fat. And the crazy part is, so I think people think they eat when they call people that are fat, but it's truly crazy to me because we look at ourselves every day. Like, I know I'm big. I know I'm juicy, and I just like, I don't understand why it has to be brought up in every other conversation, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me because I truly think that sometimes people don't think that we look at ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also just like unfortunately such a running joke, right? I think that anytime any video of ours goes viral, that's what the trolls are doing in the comments. Like I had a video of me
Yeah.
falling out. Like I just thought it was like a funny, like lighthearted video of like me falling out of my office chair. And like
Mhm.
everybody in the comments turned it into this is a sign. This should have been a wake-up call. And you knew damn well that you were too big for that chair. You knew that you were exceeding the weight limit. And it's just like it to me, it just I sit back sometimes and I think like, what is wrong with the world that they are so angry and that they're like coming on my video of like me having like a lighthearted, like funny falling out of my chair moment and like commenting things like that. And like I would never think to comment that about someone else's appearance.
Never.
Right?
Oh
Like
my God, never.
I would never look at someone and go, that's what you get. You're fucking, you're this, and that's why you had
Never.
that happen. Like, I can't even think of a scenario to say to someone because that doesn't cross my mind. And
Even the
it just,
person I hate the most in this world, which I don't even think I hate anyone, but
yeah.
the person that I dislike the most, I would never call them out on their appearance.
Yeah, and it's just crazy that so many people feel so bold enough to do so, even still now in 2025.
Yeah.
Many people are so quick to bring it to your attention that, like, hey, you're fat. Hey,
Oh my
hey, I
God,
know.
yes.
Hey, I look in the mirror every day. I know that I'm fucking fat. Okay, like, you don't
Oh
need
my
to sit
God.
here and comment on my videos that you
Mhm.
see my double chin, that I exceed the weight limit to this and that, like, all of these things that, like, you're saying to me, like, hey, I know. Hey, like, shut up.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
tiring, you
Yeah,
know?
you talking about the weight limit. So we went to this water park one time, right? Me and Mr. Puff. And if you know Mr. Puff, you know he is like like, I'm not even kidding when I tell you guys this. My fiance is truly like, I don't even know honestly where I found, like, I don't know how I got him in my life because he's like, I don't know, he's just really a good person, like genuinely, like has the biggest heart I've ever seen.
He is the hallmark of what men should be.
No, like truly, like when people talk about their significant others and I look at mine, I'm like truly so blessed to have him. Like, I don't even know what I did right, but I did it and he's here. But anyways, not saying that he's like the most perfect human being, but like he's pretty perfect for me. Anyways, to
Aw.
me. So where I'm getting at is we went to this water park and Mr. Puff loves slides and shit like that. Me, I'm not a fan because I think growing up big my whole life, I'm like, I can just imagine the Norbit scene in when I go up there.
My God, I don't weigh no 300 pounds. I weigh 165 or what does he say? Like,
How you doing?
how you doing? ma'am, the ma'am, the weight hundred or the weight limit's 200. What does it say? The
I
weight
don't even
limit's
remember. But she's
250.
like,
I don't
"Oh,
know.
you want to see a big go down a slide?"
You want to see a big bitch go down the slide? I'll show you how a big bitch go down the slide. No, but
That
it's
was
the same. Like,
no. I literally just play that every time I go up something. I'm like, at the water park. I'm like, I'm gonna replay Norbit up in this bitch. So Mr. Puff, I remember we went to this water park and he was like begging me. He was like, "Babe, please, I want to go up this like water. I want to go up this. I want to go down this water slide." And I was like, "No, Puff. Like, I'm gonna sit my ass in this wave pool while you go." And we had gone with one of our best friends. And my best friend was like, "I'll go with y'all. Like, I'll go with him. I'll just go with him." And I was like, "Y'all have fun. I'm gonna stay here." So I'm like literally chilling in the wave pool by myself. Not even like 10 minutes comes by and I see Mr. Puff. And I'm like, damn, that was like the fastest line I'd ever seen in my life. Like, hell yeah, I love it. And he's like, Puff, I couldn't get on the ride. And I was like, what? Why? He's like, dude, tell me why he said that there was a scale when you got to the top and
yes,
they would make people stand on it and it
they
would
do.
turn green or red. If
Yes.
you weighed too heavy, it would turn red and you had to
Hmm.
walk back in front
Hmm.
of everyone.
Yes. They still
I
have
could
that to this
not
day.
believe it when he said that. I was like, are you fucking serious? And Mr. Puff, honestly, I don't know if it's a man thing, but like, honestly, everything flies over his head. He's like, oh, cool, whatever. If I would have been there, I would have cried my eyes out and I would want to go home. But
Yes.
Mr. Puff, he was like, I'm ready for the next ride. But I'm like, I'm over here like, I cannot believe that happened.
No,
Truly, I did not.
that actually happened to me like a year and a half ago. Whenever I lived in Tennessee, I actually worked at a water park. Funny, like side story. I worked at a water park. Shout out to the Wilderness. If anybody here is or if any of you are listening by any chance, love my coworkers. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, we worked at a water park, and like on our weekends, like me and my coworkers, we go to the water park, and we'd like obviously go down the fucking slides. Well, I remember there was like I'd go down the slides. I remember there was like this one, and it had like the tubes. It was one of the tube slides, and that's where they weigh
Yes.
you. That's where they weigh you because they have to make sure that like the sides have to be even. I don't know the logistics behind it.
Yes.
But I walked up there and there was a freaking scale. There was a scale. Like literally, this was just a year and a half ago. Like there was a scale up there,
That's
and
crazy.
well, mine went red, but he goes, I'll still let you on. He goes, just kind of like, I forget, like he made me like sit a certain way. He's like, just make sure you stay like on this side. And, blah, blah, blah. And he put my two friends like on the other side of me. But I just felt like such, like it was so embarrassed. And don't even get me started on like amusement park embarrassment, liver. Remember, I went to, if you know what Hershey Park is, I went to Hershey Park. And this is the last time that I tried to get on a ride. I have not, this has probably been 4 years. I have not
That's
gone
just
on any kind of
evil.
like amusement park ride, like a roller coaster or anything. It was 4 years ago, and I would try to get on this like wooden roller coaster, and the bar wouldn't even like go down. Like they just couldn't get it to like clasp. And in front of everyone, they kept trying to get it to go down, and it wouldn't go down. It wouldn't go down. In front of everyone, they asked me to get out of the seat, and that I couldn't fit. And I had to get up in front of everyone. And I remember I sat there for a minute and I just looked at him and I it won't go down. And he was just like, no, like I can't. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, mind you, he's sitting there, he's like pushing, and it was embarrassing. And I'm like, okay. So like I got up, and I was with someone that I had been dating for around like 8 months at this point. Okay, so I leave, I have to get up, and they're like, you can't ride. My ex goes, okay, like I'll see you when I get off, and rode the ride without me. We were 18, 19, 18,
Pretty rough.
19, but rode the ride without me, y'all. No, I did. I remember, but like you said, like I actually like walked down to like the side and I started crying. Like I was like bawling, and like I felt so fucking embarrassed. And I was like, that was my like that should have been like a wake up call, I feel like, for me back then. But I was so depressed and unhappy, and I didn't like, feel like I wanted to
Well,
change
no,
anything.
that's honestly like that to me, honestly, oh my God. Like when Puff told me that he had to weigh himself in front of
Mhm.
that whole long ass line, I
Yeah.
automatically would have been triggered as fuck. And then when he
Mhm.
told me that it went red and everybody could see the red, I was like,
Yeah.
no,
They do
no,
it.
no, 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 no. And him having to walk. So the reason why two people went, like why him and my best friend went, was because it was a two ride person, like a two ride thing. So like it was like one in the front, one in the back, and basically like if the two of them were too heavy, like only one could go. But
Yeah.
Puffer was like, yeah, I couldn't really even go by myself. But I'm just like, I'm just shook right now. Like when he
Yeah,
told
it's
me that, I was like,
crazy.
my God.
Okay, so like tying into like so kind of touching into like is it our fault of like say the world like kind of being like fat phobic in a sense, right? Like how do you feel about like places like that not being plus size friendly, like amusement parks and plane seats, for example, like oh don't get me started, or like concert venue chairs. Like how do you feel? Like what's like your
My
opinion on like things
God.
not being really
Well, girl, if I'm being real, think okay, so growing up, my friends loved Six Flags. And I wanted to like Six Flags, but at the time I felt like kind of like what you were saying. Like I tried getting on a couple rides and I just remember I wasn't comfortable. Like it was really uncomfortable. The only ride fit I fit into when we went was Scream, bitch. That's the
I
one
don't know
that
what that
goes
is.
shoots right up in the sky. It's the one that hangs over Six Flags. And that
No.
was my first ever roller coaster I ever went on because that was the only one I ever fit on. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get on because I want to go with my friends. Girl,
Yeah.
I will
Hell no.
ever since then I never went back to an amusement park. And I think it's because I'm terrified. Like I have PTSD that I'm not gonna fit on this stuff. Like PTSD to the core. Like that's why, if I'm being honest, like I think at water parks, like I didn't even want to try to get on because I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to fit. I think I'm just automatically assuming
Yeah.
that I'm not gonna fit, so why even try?
Mhm.
I'm not gonna fit, so why even go? And I think that's why I have beef with like the amusement parks and stuff because, and honestly, I feel like they make it smaller and smaller every time. I'm just kind of like, well, damn, like I don't even know if there's a wall I could go on there. You know, I'm just like, I don't know, it's crazy to me. Like I remember, you know what's crazy? Like let's just really talk about it. When I was younger, I remember, let's talk about it, right? Let's get really kind of deep right
Oh, I'm
now.
sad. Yeah.
Okay. when I was younger, and I always think about this when I go shopping. When I was, I don't even know, probably like middle school, I remember I would have to shop in the women's section because I couldn't fit in the youth or like the whatever it's called. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, I can fit still, right? But when is there going to come a time when I'm not going to be able to fit in the women's section, right? Because I'm already fitting in them now. And I just remember I keep telling myself, we'll worry about that when we get there. We'll worry about when we get there. Because jeans, oh my God, jeans would freak me the fuck out. I
Mhm.
remember being a teenage girl and not being able to shop for jeans when all your friends around you were just having a blast looking for going back to school clothes was the most terrible thing for me. Crying in
Mhm.
the dressing room because I couldn't fit into a
Yes.
pair of pants is traumatizing. Dressing rooms are traumatizing
Dressing
for
rooms.
me, honestly. Just recently I started to like them again, but I think it's because growing up I struggled with that. Like a teenager having to shop in the women's section because the sizes were just so shitty is crazy. And I just remember like getting older and no longer being able to shop in stores. And I was like, okay, my time's now. Like, I guess it's over now. Like, fun while it lasted, but I can no longer shop in stores. That shit sucked.
It
And it
does.
still does suck. I feel like being in a bigger body, we can't go to the store and be like, I last minute event, I gotta go find something to wear. No. Last minute events are not a thing for me. I have to like literally go online, or if I do find a store that has cute stuff, optional, like limited, very limited stuff. I feel like sometimes I have to force myself to
Mhm.
wear it just because it's available, and I hate that. I hate it so much. But just kind of talking about like amusement parks and when I was younger, it just kind of reminded me of like how I used to like think so far ahead because I was always so worried that like my like I was eventually going to like not be able to fit in this anymore, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever dealt with
No.
that.
All the time. I remember, like, just think like, growing up, same thing with you, is, like, I had, like, friends, we'd go to the mall on the weekends or, like, back to school shopping, and they'd run into Hollister and Justice and, like, all those places, like, Aerie and Aeropostale, like, all these places that, like, I knew I like, going into these dressing rooms, I wouldn't fit. Like, I
It's almost like
knew, like
embarrassing, you know?
it's so embarrassing. I remember, like, growing up and being in the dressing rooms, like, they were all, like, finding the cute little bras and, like, the underwear, like, and I couldn't fit any of it, and I just remember, like, not even going like, it got to a point where I was just like I would just go with them and stand. I would go with them and just sit on the benches as they went into these stores because I said, "I'm not even gonna go into the dressing rooms anymore." I just got to a point of, like, I knew I wasn't gonna fit these clothes anymore, and, I mean, that was in high school alone, and it's just crazy to me that we have so many bodies that are plus size, and we're not accommodating towards them, right? Like, why are you only going to a size 18 if you're lucky in stores? Like,
Uh-huh.
you can't even find a size 18 half the time. If you do, they have one
No.
pair of size 18 jeans and now they're gone. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but they'll have 12 pairs of or, double zeros and 12 pairs of sixes, and it's just like it doesn't make sense to me, and I understand that a portion, us being plus size, isn't always healthy. Sometimes we have underlying, like, health conditions, right? But I think that there are not I think I know that there are, like, healthy plus size people out there that maybe don't have any underlying conditions and they're okay with being plus size, and, why aren't we accommodating towards them? I think there's hundreds of thousands of Americans that don't get to shop in
That
store,
part.
and I think it's kind of crazy that we don't
Uh-huh.
accommodate them, and especially when it goes to, like, plane seats, like, even with me, down 80 pounds when I just went on a plane, I was still kinda, like, stuffed in that plane seat, like, I was like, "Damn, like, when are we get like, why are plane seats so small?" Like, even, like,
Yeah.
even my best friend who's, like, a taller guy, like, he even, like, he kinda sits in it, like, he's like because they're just so small, and, like,
Yeah.
I remember, like, I still do, but dreading concerts. I love music and I love concerts so, so much, but I remember dreading having to buy, like, a seated concert ticket,
Mm.
which, if you know, concerts are expensive, so most of the time they're seated, like, it's impossible to get floor tickets, they're really pricey, right? And I remember, like, so many times, like, when I saw Taylor Swift, when I saw Casey Musgraves, and, like, all these people, and they were, like, seated seats where, like, I had to sit, like, I couldn't sit. I literally, like, I remember, like, my hips was, like, spilling, like, I was
Ugh.
spilling over into, like, the people next to me,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
I just was like, I felt bad because the people next to me, like, I'm, like,
Yes.
taking over there, like, I'm in their space, and, like, I was uncomfortable, like, it was digging in my hips the whole time, and, like, I couldn't watch the concert, and then I would just stand, and then my feet would hurt, and I just feel like there's so many, like, things that, like, looking back on, like, my life that I feel like I haven't been able to experience fully because the world's not really, like, accommodating, right? And
No, yeah.
experiencing all that stuff from such an early age, it's like, why did I have to fucking deal with that at, like, 18, 19? Nobody should have to deal with
Yeah.
that, you know?
Absolutely. And I think haters will always just be like, "Well, then lose weight," or "Being fat is not healthy." I don't give a fuck, right? We understand, right, that being fat is not healthy. As a bigger person, we know that. We understand that. But nobody should ever be made to feel that way. Like where you go to a store and you can't find options for yourself, where you're so terrified to go to a concert because it's a fun experience, but you don't know if you're going to fit in the chair. You shouldn't be terrified of normal things in life. Nobody should ever feel that way. And I don't care if you're small, big, in between, whatever. I don't care. Nobody should ever have to feel that way, especially because of the size that they are.
Yeah. No.
That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
I think to kind of like tie in like the end of this episode here, I think that a large portion of this journey, of a weight loss journey in general that we're dealing with right now is realizing that like you were never the problem. I think that that's something really, really important to grasp and to start to learn.
Mm-hmm.
At 8 years old, I couldn't control that. I didn't have the mental capacity to control my food addiction. Like something was internally wrong with me. And it's just that it was something that like medically needed treated or addressed and it wasn't, or whether it had been like therapy or something to help me with my addiction to food and my relationship with food. It just wasn't handled, unfortunately. And it wasn't my fault. It wasn't all of my fault. Maybe I'll word it that way. It just wasn't 100% my fault. I think the binging, of course, I had a portion of that. Like I would lay down and like binge food, and a portion of that was my brain. But at the same time, binging is a mental health disorder, and so it's like I can't really, it's hard to just be like, hey, don't binge. Hey, don't
Yeah.
eat that. Like, yeah, well, try to tell that like I have a binge eating disorder. Like it's not that easy, So
No, for sure.
I yeah, I think just tying into the fact of like, coming to a realization that it never was your fault, like all of your fault. Like it was never 100% all on you.
Yeah. And I think to finish this episode, I'm going to ask you guys another question and we'll answer that too, because I think that's the beauty of the pod. We asked you guys something to reflect on, but we're going to reflect with it. We're going to reflect on it with you guys. So a question that I want to end off the podcast is, what is one thing that you're looking back now that you realized wasn't your fault?
So I would probably say like one thing that I realized wasn't actually my fault was how people treated me. As I've been overweight. I think that I would just constantly like I would just say like, you are fat, and you deserve how they're treating you and how they're talking to you. And I just kind of want to like if I could speak to like past self me and even present self me now, it's not your fault how people are talking about you and how people are treating you. Most of the time it's projection, and most of the time they actually feel 10 times worse about themselves, and it's just a lot easier to tear down a stranger than it is for them to tear down themselves and to look in the mirror and realize, hey, something's wrong with you. Instead, they'd rather look at me, and me be their punching bag. And, it was never my fault. And I would
Yeah.
like to tell my past self that and my present self that you can't control other people's emotions and how people treat you. And it's not your fault that people are full of hatred and can't stand to see a plus size body living this world, living
Yeah,
this life.
absolutely. And honestly, Liv, hearing you just talk like that, I just want to take a minute to say that, like, damn, I think that was like so powerful. And I think anybody who's listening can take away from that, because I think something that is very common is people hate to see a bigger person happy. They hate to see it, hate it. So I love that you said that. I think you said that so gracefully. I think if there's one thing that I thought, or actually I blamed myself for, was I think I was weak for needing help. I think I blamed myself a lot for that before starting my journey. And I truly have realized that I was not weak at all. I think I was very strong, actually, for needing help and for finally choosing to, look into my GLP-1, to choose my health. And I think that that's a lot of things that I struggled with for so long. And I'm no longer blaming myself for that. I'm no longer telling myself that I was weak for that. I'm not weak. I'm so strong.
No.
I've overcome a lot of things. I've overcome a lot of emotions. And I think that this Priss now, like that, who I am right now, is like the strongest version of myself that I've ever been. And I hear this a lot, right? And I always wanted to tell myself that I can relate. Have you ever seen like those videos where people are like, I love the person that I'm becoming, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I would always like say that back then. And I'm like trying to believe it, but I truly love the version of me that I'm becoming, because I don't think I've ever
Aw.
gotten to see this one. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
That's beautiful, Liver. I think I can definitely like getting to know you more personally on a deeper level the last few months. And I still remember the night that I got the DM from you and you were like, "Hey girl, like tell me like about like what are you doing?" And I talked to you about it and you were like, "I don't know, like I feel like I'm gonna, I don't know that you used the word weak, but you were talking to me about like your platform and you feel like you're gonna let people down and maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not the not right way to lose weight. And you were kind of just like going through like all the emotions with me. And I think, just hearing you talk now and how strong you've become and how you've been evolving on this journey is beautiful.
Oh, look
And
at you.
I think it really just goes to show that it's not all of our fault. It's this, we're dealing with like, conditions and stuff that we can't fully handle as humans. And I think that it's okay to need a tool
Yeah.
to help with that. And a
Yeah.
GLP-1 has truly saved me. And when people say that, you might think it's corny. And if you're listening to this and you don't feel that way yet, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to feel that way at some point because I used to think that it wouldn't save me and it might not work for me. But here I am, down almost 100 pounds. I'm 3 pounds away from being 100 pounds down.
Yeah.
And this
Oh my
medication
gosh.
has, I know, oh my God, a celebration. But I just think that like looking back on myself a year ago, like I'm just so much happier. I'm so much happier. I'm so much healthier. We're, I want to make sure that you guys know that you're not weak for choosing this journey. If anything, you're strong. You're strong as hell
Oh, yeah.
for choosing this journey and choosing yourself. And I think that you're stronger than someone choosing to do it the quote unquote natural way. Because this holds so much like stigma and so much more like backlash than like doing it like the simple like go to the gym and work out way. And I just think that by you saying, screw the stigma and screw the opinions and I'm going to do this anyways, I think that that just proves that you're so much stronger than you think. And I just want you to I want to finish off by saying that it was never 100% all of your fault. If you're listening to this, I'm speaking to you right now. Yes, you.
Mm-hmm.
It's never 100% your fault. And we are here for you and you are not alone. And that I'm so, so proud of you for choosing yourself and choosing this journey.
Yes, absolutely. I think you worded that perfectly. I want to remind everyone that this is our first time doing life, our first time taking on this journey, and you owe it to yourself to just be kind to you. I know that we did a lot of self reflecting on this episode. We wanted to kind of switch it up a little bit. And I think it's important to just like really reflect on this. And I just want to remind anyone that's listening to this that you are heard, that you are seen, and that, yeah, like Taylor said, it was never 100% your fault and you are not the problem. And we hope that if you are new here, you stay. And for anyone that comes back every week, we just want to remind you guys again how grateful we are to have you guys on this journey with us because we truly wouldn't be where we are today without you guys. And for all the people that literally, like, honestly, for everyone that like listens to us religiously and just always shows up for us, like, we can't even put into words how grateful we are. We literally see you. Just know that we see you. We know who you are. We see you and we're grateful for you.
And shout out to you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I know that Chris and I love you guys dearly so, so much for all the day ones, or maybe this is your first time listening to us. We're so, so happy to have you here. If you're not already following us on all of our platforms, we are The Dose of It. If it's your first time here, or maybe you've been listening to us for 3 months now and you still don't follow our Instagram, hey, head over there, give us a follow. And again, we do have that Patreon. If you guys are looking for a little bit more support, you're alone in your journey, or you just feel like you need more of a community, we are here for
Yes.
you and we would love to have you over on the Patreon. And Chris, I just want to say thank you for yet again another healing therapy episode with you. And I love you so much. And I feel like I learned a lot about you today. And I just love you benches. And I love you guys.
Love y'all so much. I hope y'all have the best week ever. Liver, you know how I feel about you. I love you with all my heart. And we'll see y'all next week. So
Yeah.
be kind to yourself, be gentle, drink your water, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next week.
Bye
Bye,
guys.
bestie.